Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to yet another tutorial on Arcgis Pro. Previous tutorials I've shown you how to build a model, how to save projects, how to assign values and to flip these values. And we've now come to the stage where you finished your model and you want to start sharing this with your classmates or your fellow students. Now, before we start doing anything, what we need to do is a little bit of data prep or data management. So if we go into our model and we see the model that we finished, we need to look at what our source data is. So what you need to have is a folder that contains a geodatabase containing each of your source data files. So LGN7, you can find that in my tutorial database. You've probably named it something else. I can't imagine that you would have a tutorial database, but you would have something regarding case or ecological criterion or something or other. But you would have a folder within which a geodatabase and the source files of your model. Okay, so we can find LGN7, the research area, soil map, and buildings all in this database as well, along with my model. Okay, now once we've done that, what we want to do is we want to find that folder in your browser, and you can right click that and hit share. And it's going to ask you who do you want to share it with. So designate one person within your group or discuss with each other who you're going to send your data to. So whoever you want to add it in, this is the designated person at hvhl.nl. That doesn't exist, but as a dummy, we're going to send it there. Right. Once you've done that, that person is going to receive an email with a link which will open up to your SharePoint or your OneDrive. Yeah. From here, you're going to find the folder. So in this case, it's a tutorial database for me. And what you want to do is you want to hit synchronize. Okay. What it's then going to do is going to ask you for permission. Can it open OneDrive? You're going to go ahead and say yes. And what it will do is it will create a new OneDrive, which next to your OneDrive VHL, you're going to have a VHL OneDrive with these little buildings next to it. Okay. Click that. And then you can find the folders that are shared with you. In this case, the tutorial database. There we go. Okay. So now we can find this. We know where this is. So let's go back into ArcGIS. Now, once we have, so we've got the project that we're working in, or even if we were to make a new project, for instance, let's go make a new project and say combined models. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to add a folder connection. Now, what we want to do is we want to, obviously, if you're doing this on your computer, then you want to have your own data, which is, let me quickly find it on my computer in my OneDrive, GIS, DM2, there we go, and I know it's in here. So I'm just going to go and connect to DM2, okay? But I also want to make a folder connection. So that's the data that you have yourself. That is, when I'm combining my data, this is my own folder. Now I want to add the folder that was shared with me. So what I do is I go into wherever I can find, or wherever I find the OneDrive, which is most of the time on the C drive. I have them on my F drive, and we're going to go and hit VHL. It'll be named Van Hal Arenstein. That's the name of your OneDrive, and we hit OK. So what it's going to do is it's going to add another folder to your Arcgis Pro. And in this, we can find that shared folder, the tutorial database, and open up that folder. Okay. Now, in the previous folder that I have these models that I created, and I'm going to go ahead and open this. And I'm not sure whether this model 1 is going to open because I've just added that into the tutorial toolbox. It's actually a copy, as you can see, from this one here. So if this model doesn't work, might be empty. No. Okay. Then I'm just going to go ahead and use this one. For the sake of the tutorial, I added a model here quickly so you could see it. But in your case, these things will work just fine. So I've got two different models, and perchance these are the same. One's just sort of made to look pretty and the other's not. But from this, I am going to, let's see, I'll take the vector part of this model here. And let's go ahead and create a new model to start with. And we're going to name that combined criteria. Or if you're combining the ecological criteria first, say combined ecological. Yeah. Add that as a label as well, so that we know. If we save that, we can see combined ecological. Okay. So edit that. This is our combined model. Now from model number 1, let's see, we'll take the raster part. So that's this part here. Ooh, that's zoomed in. We'll take that from here and add it in here. And then from the other model, we'll grab this part. So just sort of imagine that these are two, well, they are two different models, but that one person made one and the other made the other. And just forget about the fact that I made both here. And you simply copy and paste these steps, your tools, everything. You can, of course, if it's your own model and you copy the full model, you hit Control A and it selects everything, and Control C copies everything, and Control V then pastes everything into your model. But here we go. We're just going to stick with this here. Now, just now these here were grayed out. They've just opened up again, and they've got some color. Let's simply see if this runs. There we go. Let's start with a first step. Let's not make it too complex. And what it's basically testing, it's just checking, hey, where is this data? Can I find it? Yes or no? And it says complete. Fantastic. Okay. Now it might be that it can't find this data. These might all be grayed out. That's possible, and that's perfectly okay. If that does happen, okay, so this refers to, I'm just going to see, it's in my learning database. Okay, right. Let's show real quick what that looks like as soon as we start. It's under data, learning database. Okay. It's the research area Grote Wille. Okay, this file here is the same as this one there. I'm going to let's copy, or you can drag and drop. I'm going to put it in the coordinates database. Not sure what it's thinking about. Might be downloading in the background. There it is. There we go. So let's add this in here real quick, just to create a backup and put it elsewhere. Yeah, research area here, and I'm going to remove it from my learning database. Now, please don't do this yourself. I'm just showing you what happens as soon as it can't find the data that it's looking for. So I'm going to run this clip, and it's going to say, hey, it's grayed out, but why? Okay, so we open up the tool, and it's going to say there's a there's a white X here, and it says error 732 something does not exist or is not supported. Okay, so it tells me exactly where I can find this. It says, if I sort of read through this real quick, under data, GIS workbook, learning data, geodatabase, research area, grote wielen. Okay, it doesn't exist. So how do I fix that? I can tell it's not finding it. If you double click your research area and you hit this little browse thing here, I can now tell it to go to, let's see, data, GIS workbook, getting started, because that's where I put it. Hit OK. And as soon as it does that, look at this, all the colors back. Same counts for this one because this was the same input. So we're going to hit browse, research area, hit OK. Boom. Now, why is this research union not working yet? Not entirely sure. So let's run everything up until there and see whether we encounter anything out of the ordinary. Now, thinking back at these previous tutorials, remember that this dissolve, it takes a little bit longer when combined in a buffer. This is why this step is taking a bit longer. You can separate them if you want, but look at this. It's working perfectly fine. And you can see it's adding things to our contents pane over on the left-hand side as well. It doesn't have to, but it's quite nice that is doing all that. So now we've combined two different models. The first one seems to be working just fine. It's just sort of going through these steps. Now, if it doesn't find, so if these are all grayed out and it doesn't find the input, just remind the computer, the program, where to look for the data. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, if the soil map, if you've used the soil map from your fellow mate Chris, okay, and Chris did not send his I don't know whether we have a student named Chris at the moment, but that's beside the point. Maybe he didn't send his tutorial database with the base data in it, okay, with the source data. Then just use your own. You all have access to the same data, so just use your own data to fill in these blanks and basically remind the computer where to find the data, and once it knows where to find it, you can run the model just as before, no issues whatsoever. Okay, now combining models also means a step sort of all the way at the end of things. So what we did in the previous tutorials is we created a raster analysis, and we had two vector analyses, and we need to sort of merge these together. For that, I say merge, but what I actually mean is union. So let's run this last one here as well so that they're all run. And once these are all done, let's find the tool union. Add that to our model and start drag and drop. Input, input, input. Now I'm just going to call these this is called land use vector union. That's not what I want to call it. I want to call it, this is the stakeholder combined. Again, all attributes, nope. We want all attributes except for feature IDs. And just for good measure, I'm going to show you what it does. So I've now selected all attributes, yeah? I'm going to add it to display so that we can look at the attribute table. And look at all these columns here. Now these FIDs, FID, research area, GW, erase, union, whatever. These FIDs are complete nonsense. Because what it's trying to do is it's trying to, similar to where we used union to add in the 0, so to add one, to provide the value 0 in our suitability scores, it's now also trying to do calculations with things that simply make no sense. Okay, so what we're going to do is going to go back to union, we're going to go back to the attributes to join, select all attributes except feature IDs, hit OK, run the tool. Now look at the attribute table and see that we have land use, buildings, suitability. Cool? Right. Now they're all added together, but we can't select the top 3 yet or do any of the sorts. So what we need to do a couple more steps. One, we need to add a field that says something about the combination of the scores. And as always, with add field, we add calculate field. Yeah, so let's go add field, calculate field, call this stakeholder final or suitability. Again, short, hit OK. Run that. And in this calculate field, and now this is where data management is really, really going to pay off, because we know that we need to combine stakeholders combined. So we need to add all the stakeholders together. We need to have land use, double click. Oh, wait, first a field. Yeah, so the field that we just added, my apologies, is stakeholder suitability. So that says something about suitability based off the stakeholder criteria. I've just designated this stakeholder criteria. Yeah, so stakeholder suitability is land use suitability plus building suitability plus soil suitability. Okay, so now what it's going to do is it's simply going to add up all these three different fields. Now, just for sort of get an idea of where we are, we'll go ahead and run that here. So if we add that to display, go into the attribute table. Now we can see at the end of the attribute table, stakeholder suitability, a 0, a 1, and we would expect, yeah, so we got 3 different criteria. So we have a maximum score of 3. Yeah? Because if there's a 1 in land use, a 1 in buildings, and a 1 in soil, then we should have 1, 1, 1 is 3. Okay? So 1, 0, let's see. I saw 2 here somewhere. There we go, 2. Now it's possible that there is no 3. Oh, there we go. There's a 3. Brilliant. So we do have a 3. So these would be the best suitable areas based on the stakeholder criteria. Now, again, similar to what we've done previously, we've got 1,082 different object IDs at the moment. Now, it's quite likely, if we sort of go into the map, zoom to layer. There we go. It doesn't look pretty. There's one thing missing. Let's see. There we go. That's a couple of colors. So let's go based off of these stakeholder suitability scores. Oh wow, that's quite something. Let's clean this up a little. The 0 is red. Actually, let's make that a deep red. Just gonna go with some bold colors here. Let's make make one yellow. Or sorry, orange. I'm gonna make that orange. Let's make this yellow. Okay, this is an art class, so no comment. Make it green. Boom. All right. Fantastic. So now we can see exactly which of these areas are suitable or unsuitable. Now, notice one thing. If I select this big area over here, which is apparently a very, very suitable area, I'm very happy about that. That's very good. It's also lighting up things over here and there and there. But it needs to be an adjoined area. And in order to find out the size, the area size of this one polygon and not all of that area, what we need to do is a final tool, and that's called multi-part to single part. There we go. Oh, come back. Here we go. Doesn't require any settings. We're just going to go use that as the output from the calculate field as input. Add to display. Now we've already added colors to this, so we're going to have to go ahead and do that again. But we're going to do the same colors. Now what multi-part to single part does is it disconnects any non-adjoining or non-connected polygons. So where previously we could select this polygon here and others would light up around it or near it, now that doesn't happen. Not unless there's an actual connection that's actually adjoined to each other. Okay, so this allows us to say, hey, this area here, this polygon with value 3 is actually yay big. Okay, so with that in mind, I think we can wrap up combining these models. It's repetition, like it's an exact duplicate for your stakeholder criteria for ecological. This makes no sense. I've named the model combined ecological, and right, just notice that there, a little mistake on my behalf. Apologies. Hope that doesn't throw you off too much. But combining models is quite simple. Just make sure that you do a little bit of data preparation in advance. So where we add the data that we need to run our model, and then share your data with your classmates through OneDrive, allow them to synchronize it, create a folder connection, and then you're all set in just simply copy and pasting models into each other. If things turn out gray, make sure to sort of reselect the source. So that's what happens when the things go gray. Make sure that you select source. Once you've done that, things should completely be added, and the color should be added to the tools and the outputs again. Run the entire model to make sure that the thing runs smooth. Check your outputs and combine it with a final union, which we did at the step here. Combine the scores, 1s and 0s. Add multi-part to single part so you can see how big a certain area is, and you're all done. All right. Now, thanks for your attention. I think that's enough for today. Best of luck. If you have any questions, as always, make sure to either ask them in class during a practical session, send us an email, or ask your question on Teams. Other than that, best of luck combining your models. I'm looking forward to seeing your final results.